Let's see. What would you write for a Stories of Sodor episode? God damn, my voice sounds awful. Wardhouse TV suggested a story after recovery called Grief, which shows a variety of endings dealing with the deaths from Season 5. The remaining Nor'easters would grieve Jeffrey, Peter, and Mr. Zorro. Stanley would grieve Benson, despite his attitude. They were in secret good terms in Lamb. Derek would grieve Mickey, and Percy and Kay would be the most depressed of all, given that Thomas the Tank Engine died. Diesel would also become closer to Percy and share his sadness of losing Colin and Adam, while Reginald would become closer to Kate and share his sadness about losing his brother, Randolph. Douglas and James could also be useful for this part as they too lost the love of their lives. And to be honest, as nice as that story sounds, it sounds kind of boring. It also kind of sounds like the B plot of a much bigger episode. Yeah, it just kind of feels boring. And also kind of, like I said, it feels like a B plot to something much bigger. Station Films Production 12345 says that he wouldn't introduce two Arthurs into the series. He says that maybe he could be planning something. I think he's talking about how Victor could have been planning something, but he thinks that should have been some other engine, like Timothy. I think he's talking about the Claypis engine, because Timothy's a ghost engine. It was used as Arthur's ghost back in Season 1, if you remember. And he would also rewrite Season 5 to not be half-baked, as he calls it. The Ruined Breakfast official also says that he would rewrite Season 5. And that's something I see a lot of people do. A lot of people don't like Season 5. Which, to be honest, I heavily disagree. I think Season 5 is my favorite season. And I love it a lot. I love Season 5. I love the plot. I love the action. I love the foreshadowing. I love the continuity. I love the visuals. Almost everything about Season 5 is great, in my opinion. Uh-oh. I am gonna get shot. Peck and W4 Productions said that if he was in charge of writing a Stories of Sodor episode, he would write an episode about the Culdee Railway, because they did nothing after Season 4. And to be honest, that would be a cool thing, because as nice as it is that the Culdee Railway was introduced, it just kind of feels like it's there, without much of a purpose, really. Nothing was done, even in Season 4, like, what? Then why is it introduced? So, yeah, people call Season 4 the GOAT of Stories of Sodor, but I disagree personally. I mean, it is great and all, but there are a few weak episodes, those being, Mountain, Treasure, and, Beaching. Wing Young Hui, I think that's how you say his name, says that he would rewrite some stuff from Stories of Sodor. He thinks that Adam's death would have been better if he was forgiven by Radek Zelenka, and also hear Eric's positive quotes that he said after Adam died. And to be honest, that sounds cool personally, and I would have liked to see Radek forgive Adam and show that he really was a changed engine, but yeah, that would have been cool a lot. He also says that instead of the amount of deaths in 1965 happening too quickly apparently, and also being unexpected by Robert Hall's revenge, he should instead use Soviet spies. And honestly, that sounds way worse than what Season 5 got us. I mean, the cool thing about it was the revenge of the death of a guard back in Season 2. Continuity, am I right? But with Soviet spies, while cool, it's just not the same. And he also says that Thomas shouldn't have been sent to the scrapyard and instead to be sent to a research facility, which would have been more appropriate in his opinion. And honestly, that also sounds like an interesting idea. But to be honest, realistically, if they thought Thomas was dead, then they probably sent him to the scrapyard anyway. But to be honest, Barry Island is a good setup for Thomas's return, because a lot of steam engines were saved from Barry Island. So, yeah, one of those steam engines could have been, well, Thomas. Will Cloy says an idea that doesn't really fit in Stories of Sodor, but rather in his theories. He says that it goes like this. Thomas hears the voices of his brother, Timothy, the ghost engine, despite the fact that Timothy was portrayed as Arthur's ghost in season 1, and Thomas is, well, dead for now, but in the evening, he apparently talks to Timothy and says that he doesn't want to escape his ghostly body, and Thomas says that he won't give up in helping him. This feels like a Stories of Sodor episode. This feels like something a part of some other fan series. Like, what? There's so much about this that doesn't make sense within the universe. Thomas is dead right now. Timothy was portrayed as Arthur's ghost, so how does that work? Oh, and also, actually, Thomas is not an E2 in the Stories of Sodor universe. He was both at Croven's Gate in 1905. So, how would that work? How? Fernite and Helix Bro said simply, Thomas returning. And he also gives a story about how that worked. And it goes like this. Percy and Toby are talking about Thomas and how they miss him at the beginning. Then all the engines are called down for an important announcement. When they arrive, Robert Creedy tells them he needs an engine to help him get some spare parts from a scrapyard. Percy volunteers to help. Rob tells him the scrapyard is in Barry Island, Wales, aka Thomas's body's area. Although a bit uneasy, Percy still agrees to help. When they get there, and while Rob is searching for parts, Percy finds Thomas's body and starts feeling sad. He starts talking about how much he misses Thomas. Just then, Thomas's eyes weakly open. He weakly says, "Percy?" Alarmed, Percy calls Rob and realizes that Thomas can still be saved. Thomas is loaded onto the boat that was meant to carry the spare parts, and Percy tells everyone about the event. After a few weeks, Rob calls everyone to the works. Thomas comes out of the works, fully repainted and repaired, smiling. Everyone is happy to see him, especially Percy. Damn, what a nice story. It definitely sounds like a way that Thomas can be brought back. And if it were like this, then I would actually really like it. But if I'm being honest, my version of how Thomas returns is different. And Raymond Speed Official says simply that he would write an episode that would be an hour or 40 minutes. And that doesn't sound like an episode, but rather a movie of some sort. Which, fun fact, speaking of movie, Thomas Returning was originally going to be a movie called, I think it was like Thomas the Movie or Stories of Sodor the Movie or something, I don't know. But it was basically the plot of Thomas, but spanned across like an hour-long movie. And one thing that I can say is that Thomas You're the Leader, the end song from The Great Discovery, was going to play at the end, but rewritten to finish the Stories of Sodor. And also, Iterations was going to be the finale. However, it was changed because I wanted Thomas to come back sooner and put in some ideas that I had in mind for a long time and still do. So, yeah, and that's how Thomas became a part of Season 6. So, yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for giving me their ideas on their own Stories of Sodor episodes.